Hello and welcome to The Shop of Joy, the podcast that celebrates the heart and the soul of retail. Whether you're serving on the shop floor, you're leading a team, or simply someone who loves a brilliant customer moment, this space is for you. Each episode, we'll explore how to turn your store into a joyful place for your customers, your colleagues, and just as importantly, for yourself. So today we are discussing how to make your training stick. Now, I've been through so many training programs, and within the next couple of days, everything gets forgotten because certain things haven't been put in place by the store or by the trainer themselves. So there's some really key ways that we can do, key things that we can do in order to make our training stick. Now, I just want you to have a little think about a couple of these concepts, right? Think about the last book you read. Now, if somebody was to ask you a question about that book, basically as soon as you closed the chapter on that book, close the final chapter, and they asked you a question, they asked you the plot points, they asked you something about some of the characters, you're more than likely going to be able to talk very comfortably and easily about that book. You're excited about it, you've enjoyed it, hopefully, and you want to spread the word and you want to talk about it. 2 weeks later, somebody asks you about that book. You might remember the plot, you might remember some of the characters, but specific parts of the book you are going to have completely forgotten, right? It happens to me all of the time. Now, there's a curve called the Ebbinghaus curve. And what the Ebbinghaus curve is it tells us that after 20 minutes, we retain about 58% of what we've read. After an hour, we retain about 44%. After 24 hours, that drastically decreases to 33%. After a week, 25%. And then after a month, it's 21%. So anything that you're reading, anything that you're experiencing, anything that you're being trained on, without any form of intervention afterwards, you can be expected to remember just over 20%. How crazy is that? So what can we do to make sure that we remember more, right? If we don't nurture these things, if we don't nurture training, honestly, it's just never going to stick. So here's 3 ideas. But firstly, let's think about when training is doomed to fail. Training is doomed to fail if it's treated as just as an event. Right? Is it treated as a training session, an individual oasis in the middle of a desert? It's just an event. Great, we've got a training event, and that's it. It's doomed to fail. If it's treated as a habit, it's more likely to stick. Now, it also is doomed to fail if we completely forget what I've just mentioned about the learning curve. And if we decide that, okay, we read it or we do the training and then we forget that we actually, after 20 minutes, we forget about 42% of it. Also, it's doomed to fail when once the trainer has left the building, nobody takes ownership over it. Everybody has enjoyed the training, everybody's got something out of it. But there's no single focus, there's no single drum beater for the training. And if nobody takes ownership over it, nobody grabs it by 2 hands and really makes sure that they're cascading it and they're following up on it, well, it's doomed to fail, right? So it's very important for us to start thinking, okay, these are the things that we need to avoid first in order to make our training, and most specifically our customer experience training, stick. So the first idea is making it a routine, not a moment. Okay, we mentioned this before. You can have a brilliant training session. You can have a full day training. You can do everything you can in order to get the team absolutely fired up. But that's a moment. Now, I talk about customer moments, unbelievable customer moments, but the best part of customer moments is that you can always follow them up. And it's exactly the same with training. So many different ways that we can actually make sure it isn't just a moment. A 2-minute video just before a shift starts. A team huddle before a shift starts. Asking questions, the manager asking the team questions. Did you ask that customer three questions about themselves, like we did in the training? Having a quiz at the end of the day, right? Always making sure that training is a routine, is built into the day-to-day fabric of the running of the store. It's not something that's done every once in a while. It then becomes part of the store culture. This is just how we do things here. We are a store that does this. We are a store that gives great experiences. And if we are a store that gives great experiences, this is what we do. So make it a routine, make it a habit. Don't just make training a moment. So important. Okay, the idea number 2 is take somebody from the team and say, you are owning this training. Now, a lot of the time it can be the manager, but sometimes it's more powerful to pick one of your team members that really saw the benefit of it, really enjoyed it, right? And make them own it. Because when a manager gives ownership to one of the team members around the customer experience, 2 things happen. Number 1 is they rise to the level of expectation that you've put on them. So you're going to see one of your team members really rise up, and hopefully that will put them on a fantastic path for the future. But number 2, it becomes a much louder noise. Both of you are going bang, 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 beating the drum of excellence together. Now, if just one person beats the drum, it's a very thin sound. If 2 people are beating the drum of customer excellence together, suddenly that's a sound that you can't ignore. And you're much more likely, or the team are much more likely to get swept up in it and to want to give an unforgettable customer experience. So this manager who's taking the training and giving it to another member of their team, maybe a supervisor, maybe just a training owner, they're giving it, right? And then they're responsible for bringing it up in the meetings. Every meeting, maybe the manager's holding, they're responsible for giving feedback on the training. They're responsible for checking in with the store. They're responsible for reinforcing the training face-to-face with the team via coaching. But also, they are responsible to the manager as well to ensure that tacit approval doesn't happen. Now, I've spoken about tacit approval before, and tacit approval is something that I've seen a lot in my time in retail. And what tacit approval is, it is saying one thing, but doing another. And your team watching you do the other thing and believing that because you're doing that thing, it's being approved. I'll give you an example. So tacit approval is saying we need to make sure that we take every single customer's name. When they come into store, we introduce ourselves by name and we take the customer's name. And before they leave, we have their email so we can follow up, right? So the manager's saying this and he's on all of the team's case about it. But when the team are watching the manager sell and watching the manager serve, they don't hear any of that. They hear a quick transaction in order to get back to the emails, or in order to get back to the rotors, or in order to get back to something else that they were doing. So the manager is saying one thing, but their actions are actually saying something else. And this is being tacitly approved. So what the training person can do in the store, the training lead, the person that's responsible for banging the drum with the manager on the training, is also, we can't have ego here, okay? Is also being sure that they're keeping the manager to task on their tacit approval. Making sure it's not just the team The manager's being kept to task on their tacit approval as well. When everybody is singing from the same hymn sheet around the customer experience, that's when you're going to see it grow and grow and grow. Okay, now the third and final idea is making sure that we are making progress visible everywhere you see around the customer experience, right? Reduce friction. Now, when you read the book Atomic Habits, which is an absolute classic in the industry now, by James Clear, in the book Atomic Habits, he brings up a fantastic point about reducing friction in order to make your habits stick. Now, what I mean by reducing friction is, say, for instance, you like going for a run in the morning, as I do. If my running shoes are in the cupboard, if my shirt that I go running in is in the wash and it hasn't been washed yet, I'm not going to be going running. Because when I wake up, the friction is too high. So I'm not going to bother to do it, right? I need as little willpower to be used as possible. And so by having my running shoes next to the door, by having my shirt, my running t-shirt ready the night before, having my water bottle ready next to the door as well, right? By having all this, friction is reduced, I'm much more likely to do it. And it's exactly the same in the customer experience. We need to make it very, very easy to give the experience. So what we do is we have a cupboard full of things that we can give our customers, right? Reduced friction, so full of chocolates that we can give out to our customers, but of sweets that we can give out to the children in the store, right? Now, we've been trained to do all of these things, but if we've been trained to do all of these things and to go and give a customer a glass of water, it's going to be very, very difficult because we don't have any bottles of water in the fridge and the tap water doesn't work because the sink's broken, right? Then suddenly we're not going to be able to do this and everyone's going to say, forget it, we'll just go back to our old ways. So it's so important to reduce the friction where possible to give an unforgettable customer experience. Then the other thing to not forget is visibility really changes behaviours. Make everything visible. Now, I do this with my daughter. We do like a star chart, right? It's exactly the same thing when we are tracking customer experience. A tracker leaderboard as well, making sure that we're shouting out when a team member does a great customer experience. Positive, constant reinforcement, right? We all love it as human beings. We all love positive, constant reinforcement. If we've done the training and then team are doing great things left, right and centre, but it's not being recognised at all, but this was everything that was brought up in the training, then they're going to say, forget it and go back to their old ways. So positive reinforcement really, really, really helps in order to instill and keep the training moving and keep the customer experience moving, because everybody's going to want to get that reinforcement. Everybody's going to want to be on the leaderboard, right? Everybody's going to want to be the best for that they can be in order to get those elusive shout outs from the manager or from the business. So to recap, 3 ideas to make this training stick. Number 1 is make sure it's a habit, right? Everything that you've spoken about is a habit. You're talking about it in morning meetings. You've got short videos to follow up on the training. It is a habit. Number 2 is make sure somebody owns it within your store, whether it is the manager or whether it is a more senior member of staff that works with the manager. The rule of 2, the beat the drum together for the customer experience. Whoever it is, there is one person in the store whose job it is to own whatever has been trained on in the customer experience and follow it up. And number 3 is make sure progress is visible and friction has been reduced from giving the customer experience always. So I'd love you to go away and have a think. The next training session that you have in your store, What is the one thing you're going to do afterwards to ensure that training not only lands, not only inspires everybody in your store, but is a platform for greater ongoing change throughout all of your team members, and then not just your team members, your customers that come into store. And it's like this endless feedback loop. If training gets instilled and training gets enjoyed and training gets focused on, and all of the messages keep on getting the focuses that they deserve, this means the customers are going to start feeling it. And when the customers start feeling it, the energy starts going up in store. And then that feeds back to the team, and then the team feed that right back to the customers. And as I said, this is just this fantastic feedback loop of experience that is going to start happening within your store. In 2026, retail needs customer experience more than ever. So focus on it. Be the customer experience expert that you want to see in your stores, and keep the flag flying high for keeping training alive. I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.